Cool. If you're watching this video, you've already tried the homework, and I hope it didn't take too long actually, but like I said, it's another sneaky way for me to give you the same kinds of problems that you did the week before that I am telling you are so important to your life as a math student in high school. We are going to be solving inequalities and graphing solutions. So this kind of combines something from this week and last week. I think I told you guys that I pretend that there's just a 1 on top and that the R is in the back, kind of like that. And then my trick for a problem like this to get R by itself is to multiply by the reciprocal. So to multiply by the reciprocal would be times 17 over 1. Now if I multiply that side, then I'm going to multiply that side. And then I'm going to reduce. So that R, you know, you kind of ignore it. 17 on bottom, 17 on top, 1 on bottom, 1 on top. So it looks like that. And then on this side, the 17s get to cancel, and I get a negative 15 over 1, which is just negative 15. Now, I did not have to switch the sign in the middle, because even though this side was negative, I did not divide or multiply by a negative number right here, okay? So now I just sketch it out. R is greater than or equal to negative 15. So I wouldn't draw 15 little tally marks. I would probably just do that and then fill that circle in and then shade, 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 shade. Something like that. Okay, number 2. I'm going to start to go a little faster now. That I think one of the harder ones was number 1, believe it or not. Divide by negative 4, divide by negative 4. Uh-oh, I'm dividing by a negative. I'm flipping that guy around, okay? So x is greater than or equal to positive 4. There's 0, there's 4, circle it in, shade to the right. Number 3, 9 is less than a over 10. I'm going to go ahead and move that a to the back and write that as 1/10, just as I see the problem. I need the 1/10 off the a, so I'm going to multiply everybody by the reciprocal, which is 10 over 1. Cross out, multiply this side by 10 over 1, and I get 90 less than a. Now, once again, not going to draw 90 little tick marks. I'll just pretend like this is a really zoomed out number line, and I'll do my 90 over here. I'll do a big fat open circle, and it says that a is greater than 90. So I still need to shade to the right. If you don't like if you're having trouble with the less than, greater than, guys, because some people do, they get kind of mixed up on which way to shade and they read the problem wrong. A lot of my students really always like to see it like this. And then they would remember if the letter's on the left, then whichever way this guy is pointing, it looks like an arrowhead, that's the way they did their arrowhead. And so if this is messing you up, then you can flip this if you want. If you don't like it, then put the a on the left. That's okay. Put the 90 on the right. But when you flip those two places, once again, you better flip that sign in the middle. So if you want to rewrite it, then make sure the sign is pointing the same way that it was as they were facing here. And now it looks like, okay, letters on the left, the arrowhead's this way, I need to shade that way. So that's only if you're having trouble, but it happens. Some people have trouble with this. Alright, I want b by itself. I'm going to subtract 10 from both sides and get that. So if you don't like the way this looks, just like I said a second ago, you could put the b on this side and the 6 on that side, but it's just going to flip that symbol in the middle. And so b is 6, there's my 0, there's my 6, fill it in, and the arrowhead's pointing to the right, so this is going to the right. b is greater than or equal to 6. Alright, number 5, 10x less than 180. Alright, let's divide off that 10. Nobody's negative, and so you don't have to do anything funky in the middle, and the x is already on the left like most people like it. There's my 0, there's my 18, x is less than 18, so a big old open circle, and I'm shading to the left. Number 6, 8 is less than or equal to negative 8n, okay? Well, let's get the negative 8 off the n by dividing it. When I divide both sides by negative 8, I better switch that sign in the middle, and now this is a negative 1, there we go. So it's saying that n is less than or equal to negative 1. So the shading should look like that. If you don't like the letter being on the right, make it on the left instead, but when you switch these two spots, make sure you take the sign where it's pointing like that at the end, that it still needs to be pointing at the end. Okay, so n is less than or equal to -1. Alright, number 7. This one looks fun. Okay, 4n plus 4 minus 7n. Your first step should be putting the n's together, combining the like terms that you see, sort of like that. And then we're going to do -4 minus 4. 22 minus 4 is 18. I need to divide off the -3. And the minute I'm dividing by a negative, switch that sign in the middle. So n is less than -6. And so it would look something like this. -6. I need an open circle because of the symbol. And I need to shade that way because of the symbol. Number 8. -6n minus 3n, well, I'm going to go ahead and put those together as I read the problem, is less than 18. Let me divide by -9, divide by -9. I'm dividing by a negative. Switch that sign in the middle. N is less than -2. So here's 0, here's -2. Open circle because of that symbol, and then shade that way. Alright. Number 9. 12 is greater than or equal to 5n plus 8 minus 7n. So if you put the 5n minus 7n together, it looks like that. Then subtract 8 from both sides. Then divide off the -2, and as you're dividing, flip the fella in the middle. Okay. And so n is greater than or equal to -2. Okay, like I said, if you don't like it with the letter on the right, feel free to rewrite it as n still greater than or equal to -2. Alright, so I'm going to fill that in and then shade which way? That way, because it's all numbers where n's greater than that one. Okay. Number 10. -23 is greater than or equal to. Okay, there I see a 5 minus 3 in this problem, so I'm going to do that and then minus 5k. So now let me subtract 2 from both sides and get -25 and -5k. Okay. Now I'm going to divide off the -5. Now when I do that, I'm dividing by a negative, so flip U. And k is greater than or equal to 5. So there's 0, there's 5, fill it in, shade to the right. K is bigger than 5. Number 11. -3 parenthesis, all of this good stuff. Ooh, there's a big number I don't like. Okay, so what do? Let's start with distributing. And when you distribute, I think you're going to get that. Then let's minus the 3, subtract the 3 from both sides, and get -18p is greater than -126. And something tells me that 18 is going to go into 126. So let's think about how many times that might be. Times 6, times maybe it's 7 times. I think it's 7. 56, yep, that's it. So it goes in there 7 times. So when I divide by this -18, I will flip that sign in the middle, and then p will be less than 7. There's 0, there's 7, there's an open circle, and there's my shading. Number 12, last one. Okay. Distribute and get a -8. Distribute and get a -12p. Now what? That's a weird 88. Okay. Now, it's trying to get this by itself. Let's add 8 to both sides. -12p is greater than, what's 88 plus 8? Is that 96? I think so. And then divide by -12, divide by -12. And when I did that, I'm switching that sign in the middle, and so it's going to be p is less than, okay, what is this? Is this 8? Yes, p is less than 8. Oh, and it's a -8. 0, -8, okay, open circle, And which way does my arrowhead go? P is less than -8, so it goes this way. Alright, hopefully this wasn't too killer. You might have gone a little dyslexic on the left-right shading stuff because everybody does. So don't worry about that. Everybody messes that up. But hopefully after checking solutions you did okay on most of them. And that is the last of the practice of this kinds of algebra. It's going to be stepping up from here, getting a little trickier. If you start looking through, I mean, feel free to look through your stuff. I think next week there'll be a little bit more of this, but you'll have to write your own equation. I'm not just going to give it to you. So we'll get to see why algebra is actually really useful and knowing how to solve all this junk. Okay? All right, we will see you later.